So today we talked with Crista Chan, Global Director of Artistry at Fenty Beauty. Crista is Chinese American, and we spent a lot of time getting to know her background, which is a little bit unique, right? Growing up mixed in LA and just her entire journey into being a pro makeup artist to working at Fenty Beauty. Yeah, she had a really unconventional background. Like she studied psych at UCLA, but then ended up working in beauty. So we talk a lot about what does it actually mean to be a diverse beauty brand, from the marketing to the product development, all the nitty gritty. Right? We go way beyond just the 40 different shades of foundation and talk about what it really means to be DEIB, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and how brands like Fenty truly make sure that they show up so everyone can feel seen. And, since Crista is a pro makeup artist, she shared with us some good pro tips. We really took advantage of having her on our couch with us, but please enjoy today's episode with Crista Chan. Welcome to GlowJob, the beauty podcast that's more than skin deep. We're the only podcast to make you hotter and smarter. This episode is brought to you by Fenty Beauty. From day one, we've always said that GlowJob is a beauty podcast that's more than skin deep. And no one embodies that better than Fenty Beauty. This month, we're celebrating AAPI Heritage together, spotlighting the stories that celebrate culture and identity, recognizing our community, and creating space for everybody to feel seen. So you guys just came from New York, right?
Fresh back from New York. Yeah, we had a huge event that was focused on all of our lip gloss because our gloss bomb is just an incredible product.
Were there new shades being launched?
So we did have an exclusive that you could only purchase at the time at the pop-up shop called Grape Splash, but it is available right now, I think, online. So
cute.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's so cute.
Where do you live in LA?
So I'm actually north of Inglewood in an area called Hyde Park.
Oh, nice.
It's not familiar to a lot of people, but my neighborhood is super cute. I have the best neighbors ever. We have like our dog walking gang, our community. It's been, I've been there for almost a year now, and it's been pretty incredible.
So what kind of dog do you have?
He's a rescue Chihuahua, a little like Oreo cookies and cream spotted rescue Chihuahua. And he's really kind of my sidekick. He's like the best guy.
I love that. Chihuahuas used to be my favorite kind of dog back in the day because I was like obsessed with Paris Hilton. I knew you were going to say that. I mean, I still am obsessed with Paris Hilton, but like I feel like the Chihuahua thing definitely came from her. Yeah, I feel like there was like a Chihuahua like epidemic in the 2000s because everyone was like, I want to be Paris.
Everybody wanted the Taco Bell dog.
Yes.
Wasn't it the Taco Bell dog?
Yeah, it was the Taco Bell dog. Yes. It was an Applehead Chihuahua.
Oh, she knows.
Then I guess now like the trendy dog was like Frenchies. And then I think now it's kind of going to like the mini Dachshund.
Yes.
Dachshund.
Because they're so cute. They're so low to the ground.
I know. When they
like
walk.
no legs.
Yeah. So did you grow up in LA?
Yeah, well, technically I grew up in Southern California. So I was born in Riverside, and then I moved to Santa Monica when I was about 17 years old. Actually, technically I moved to the Bay Area in San Francisco when I was 17. Little stint of time. And then I came back to Los Angeles. I was in Santa Monica for a while, and then I had some time in Chicago, and then went back to San Francisco for a while, and now I'm back in LA. So long story short, born and raised Southern California.
And tell us about your family.
So my dad is Chinese and my mom is adopted. So she never really knew growing up like what her background was. And so when they got married, my mom kind of picked up all of like the Chinese tradition and culture because she wanted to like show that she could be part of the family and really make sure she upheld some of those traditions for us. And so that's kind of, I had the tale of two worlds really, which I'm so glad I listened to your last podcast because I felt the not Asian enough. I felt the not American enough and constantly kind of torn between those two worlds. And I was nervous when I was asked to do the podcast because I was like, oh my gosh, like it's AAPI month. Am I Asian enough to do the podcast?
No
Isn't it
way.
crazy? Yeah.
You definitely are.
I know, right? But we have those thoughts in our head, right? And so I was listening to your last episode and I thought, oh my gosh, we all have those thoughts and those feelings at some point, right?
What did your mom and dad do for careers?
So my mom and dad both owned Chinese food restaurant.
No way.
Yeah, pretty much my whole adolescent life. And I mean, one of the restaurants they owned was open for like 27 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to Chan's Oriental Cuisine.
Wait,
University Avenue.
I love that. Did you ever work there?
Oh yeah. I held every job there. I mean, before I could even reach all of the tables, I would have to climb on the tables and bust them. So taking all the dishes down, wiping down the tables. If the dishwasher didn't show up, my mom would throw us in the back on like a box crate so I could reach the dishwasher thing and I'd be washing dishes. She swears she does not remember this, but my sister and I talk about it all the time. Like we were definitely working at that restaurant from a young age. And then of course, like when I was a little bit older, when I could drive, I was like the delivery person, just out there with not even a Google map. It was like the physical directory, knocking on doors and handing people boxes of Chinese food and taking cash. Like it was nuts, but it was so much fun.
Were you growing up with a lot of Chinese traditions within your household too?
Yes. So there are certain things that I think outlasted some of the others, like some of the traditions and some of the superstitions, if you will. It was really infused in the household from a young age, especially like when my grandmother was living with us from my dad's side of the family. And my mom kind of did what she could to hang on to them, even when they divorced at a young age. So my dad's side of the family jokes that my mom is more Asian than all of us. And I think it's true because, you know, everybody from my dad's side of the family will call her and ask her like, hey, what do I do about this? Or, you know, what is the custom for this particular thing? And she has all the knowledge because she's done all the research.
So you mentioned your mom is adopted, but what does she look like? Like, does she look Asian?
No, so she actually looks like she is Caucasian of some sort. You know, she tans really beautifully. She was actually born in Arizona. And so part of me thinks that she might have some Native American in her, but unclear.
I can imagine it being like really kind of like healing for someone who's adopted to actually find a culture that speaks to them, that they can like kind of subscribe to in a way
or identify with.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think it was her way of really like showing his family that she can be open, adopt, like make sure like the traditions are passed on to her kids, being able to like, you know, support new thoughts, new ideas, and bring those into how we were raised.
Did you grow up with siblings?
I have a sister and then I have two stepsisters.
Is your stepsister, is she also part Asian?
So my stepdad is Portuguese and Spanish. So like in my high school years, like we definitely had different traditions coming in. Like Thanksgiving, we had enchiladas and we celebrated, you know, Lunar New Year and Chinese New Year. And so there was definitely an eclectic mix of things happening in the house.
I feel like it's kind of rare for like mixed kids to have an Asian dad, right?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like most of the time it is like Asian mom, you know, Asian mom, white dad, Oxford study, whatever you want to call it. But did you feel that growing up?
You know, what's funny is, yes, I don't think I felt it growing up. I felt it more in my 20s when people would just assume that, you know, my dad was white, my mom was Asian. And I think it was, you know, people call it yellow fever, people call it whatever it is. But it's so funny because I didn't even think twice about it for the longest. Like it didn't even dawn on me until so many people started kind of like interacting and asking questions about that and just assuming. And then I also get assumption a lot that my husband is Chinese because of my last name.
Really?
Yeah, because, you know, people look at me and they think maybe I am a different background or culture. They think maybe some sort of Latina because I'm in Southern California or whatever it is. People don't know. So they always want to assume.
I can see how that could shape your thoughts growing up around like not being Asian enough. It's like if you're getting external feedback, it's their confusion and they're projecting things on you. It's almost inevitable that that can sometimes seep into the way we view ourselves.
100%. Yeah. I mean, how many times, you know, I've been asked my last name is Chan. If I'm spelling it, I'm like Chan. And they're like, what's the rest of it? Like they think it's, I don't know, Chandler, Chansey, I don't know. Some name that does not end in Chan, right?
It just is what it is.
But I think that's true. I mean, honestly, like I think growing up in Southern California is such a blessing in so many ways. Having lived in different parts of the country now, I feel like we really are a melting pot. So culture was important inside the house, but I didn't realize how important culture was outside of the house in terms of like how people see you, how people view you. You know, in Southern California, it's like we are all mixed cultures. Everybody's mixed. Like in my mind, I was like, everybody's a bunch of things. You know, it wasn't like you had to subscribe to one thing.
Nowadays, like kids, it's almost like cool to be mixed, right? But I feel like in like it wasn't always that way, right? I think nowadays it's kind of ushering in this like more welcoming idea of like your identity. And it's, again, cool to be mixed.
It's so cool to be mixed. I think the more that we live on the planet, the more that we are all just going to be mixed at some point. And I think that's just really cool to see.
What was your relationship like with beauty as a kid?
So my mom really was kind of a driving factor in beauty, and she wasn't a huge makeup person, but she had her staples. She had the pink and green mascara. She had her eyeliner.
Yes. That was my very first mascara I ever bought myself, that pink and green
too.
one. Yeah.
I think it was almost everybody's, right?
Yeah.
If you were born in a certain time frame, I think everybody had the pink and green mascara. But I didn't actually get into like beauty until post high school. In high school, I was very much about my mascara and my lashes. I still am. I started seeing beauty as this community. And I think that's how maybe like a lot of people approach beauty, because if you are creative or if you're kind of feeling like maybe you're not a fit somewhere, people turn to beauty because it's such an environment that welcomes everybody in.
So even growing up with sisters, beauty wasn't like something you necessarily gravitated towards right away.
Not right away. No. I mean, I was back in the day, I was an athlete, which still surprises me.
What did you play?
Volleyball, water polo, and I was a swimmer.
Water polo?
Yeah.
Damn,
Water polo is badass.
I was on the first women's high school water polo team that ever existed in Southern California.
Wait, stop.
Isn't that
Really?
crazy?
That is wild. First of all, water polo is such a hard sport to play.
Mhm.
You are constantly treading water. Like, I get so tired when I tread water, and I think to myself, what if I had to also like throw a thing and carry a thing and jump and like
No, and then your
it's very-
opponents are trying to like drown you the
Yes.
whole time.
It's
Yeah.
gnarly.
Yeah, that's the thing about women's water polo is they would want to grab the back of your suit, and then all of a sudden you're above water, and all of a sudden you're not. Yeah, sometimes these ladies play dirty.
Wait, did you ever wear like waterproof mascara, or this is just like a no makeup situation?
No, so the thing about, I mean, we didn't really think about waterproof mascara. Like
Yeah.
in high school, it wasn't a thing. So I remember after school, the first thing I would do is I would jump in the pool, and I would take my fingers like this and rub off all of my mascara. So that way it wouldn't sting my eyes for the rest of practice. Like that's how I
Wow.
removed my makeup in high school, was in the chlorine pool.
Rubbing off the mascara.
Yeah,
Oh
just
my-
like this. And it's funny because I still kind of remove my mascara like that with warm water. I do a little wiggle.
So funny.
I mean, I
Works
guess
every
it's
time.
good for like a tubing mascara.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I mean, so did you have a specific moment, when it came to beauty and makeup where everything just clicked and you're like, this is what I want to do?
I don't know if it ever just clicked. I think it was kind of not a long time coming, but I just thought, hey, it'd be really cool if I got a job at, what I thought was like the brand at the time counter. And I was like, I just want to work there. These ladies are so cool. These people are so cool. Like, look at all the cool things they do with their eyeshadow. I'd never seen an acid green eyeshadow before. I'd never, it wasn't the time frame. Like the 90s, we were all about like the neutrals. And when I saw the creativity and the color that could happen with makeup, that's when I wanted to start working there. And then when I did start working there, I thought, oh my God, I actually think I'm good at this. I was kind of a self-taught makeup artist along the way. I had a really great manager at the time that like encouraged me to learn. I had clientele that was super diverse. So I started learning how to apply makeup on so many different skin tones, skin types, ages, just everything. And so it was kind of the best way for me to fall into beauty. So I guess if I had an aha moment, it would probably be that time frame right around there when I was like going to school and then also doing this cosmetic job that I was like, I love this.
Did you go to college in SoCal too?
I did. So I actually went to Santa Monica City, shout out down the street.
Nice.
That's where we met.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
SOC, yeah.
Oh my
Esthetician school.
gosh. I love that. Oh, I would have been your friends back then.
Yay.
Be in salon together.
Yeah. We would have been giving you
100%.
facials.
I 100% would have been your friend. But yeah, I went to Santa Monica City and then I transferred to UCLA because it was really important for my parents that I get a degree, especially my dad. He, I think, envisioned a really traditional style of education for me where it was like, you go to a good university, which is why I went to UCLA. And also I wanted to go there. And then, when you graduate, you get a good job. Like, and a traditional good job was doctor, lawyer, just pick one of the two and
And then you're
or
set.
go into finance and you're
Yeah.
going to be okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you'll be successful.
What did you study in school?
I actually studied psychology. I found people fascinating. I think I still do. I am a Scorpio, so I am an observer of people and a collector of information. And so with psychology, I saw like all of these different ways people can function. Why? Is it chemical? Is it like brain makeup? Is it experience? Is it, exposure? And it's funny because even though I didn't go on to be a psychologist or a therapist or anything in that realm, I feel like I use it a lot in the cosmetic world.
I'm sure in psych you learn like a lot of those like little tricks to get into their mindset. Did you ever learn anything from school that you were able to apply?
Psychology is really interesting. I think that applies a lot to what I do. And I'm not trying to be super like scientific about it, but the way people view color has an effect on their mood, which I found really interesting. People can be really intimidated by color. Anytime a woman would come to the counter and want a red lipstick for the first time, my first question would be like, are you ready for this red lipstick?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Because I'm going to tell you, it's going to make you feel a certain way when you first put it on. If they're not ready, they feel uncomfortable right away. It's too much color. It's too attention grabbing. But then you see people like kind of build up this like confidence towards it. And they're like, I can wear this.
I can think of the first time I did like a bold red lip and I looked at myself, I'm like, whoa. Oh, this is new Sasa. Like, it's a totally different persona that you have when you use bright colors. And so I totally get that.
How was it talking to your parents about like, going to school and then saying, oh, I'm actually going to go do makeup?
I actually was putting myself through school while I was working at the Met counter. Yeah. So my dad thought of it one way where he was like, okay, good. You have a good job. You're making some money. You're also still going to school. So I can't wait for you to finish the school. Right. And I think my mom was a little bit more understanding that I was more of a creative mind. School was hard for me. I was not good in school. I did get my BA, but it took me 10 years because I was working on my makeup career at the time. And so I think my dad still thinks that I don't have like a real job. I mean, he tries to like slip me 20s like occasionally. I don't mind. I'm like, Dad, I don't need it, but it's fine. I think my mom was the one that really understood that, she was like a super supporter of being able to find out what you're good at and leaning into that. So she always encouraged. Also, when I went to school, beauty and having a career in beauty was not a thing. Like, it wasn't a thing that you could be a makeup artist and be successful. It wasn't a thing that you could work for a cosmetic company in, different areas like marketing or in education. Like, there were so many different pathways that I now see, but I'm on the other side of the journey, right? It's like when I first started, I had no idea that all of this existed.
So what was your first job getting out of college then?
Here's the thing is because it took me 10 years to go to college, my first job was still the job that I had the whole time. So I was working as a counter makeup artist at MAC, and then I just progressed through that company. I actually was with the company for 18 years after that. And my many jobs after that kind of fell under that portfolio.
What made you decide to jump ship when Fenty came about?
It was a hard decision. You know what I mean? People don't like, obviously I didn't like change. I was there for 18 years, but Fenty hit the scene. I really saw how loud they were about wanting to be inclusive and wanting to make sure that they made products for everybody that wanted them. To me, that was really an inspiring factor because that was their story and they were sticking to it. And it was really cool to see that they launched with 40 foundations out of the gate. A lot of beauty brands that were opening at the time were launching with like lips or lip gloss or, just certain color cosmetics that like really didn't put a stake in the ground. And so when I saw that foundation lineup, I was like, I think that's it.
Fenty wasn't the first to have 40 foundations because MAC also did too,
Yeah.
right? So what made Fenty different?
I think it was the wanting to make it a statement in the industry. And that's what I saw from the outside looking in. But I think the defining factor for me with Fenty was they wanted to come in and be so out loud about it. And that's essentially what I felt like was going to change the industry was we needed people to say, this is what we're doing.
At GlowJob, we try to talk about like, obviously beauty and the brands and the trends, but we also like to talk about like the industry of beauty.
Yeah.
So can you just like educate us? Like we're 5, right? Like what do you do?
So I have a really unique job and I am so fortunate to have this job because Fenty does recognize that I have a pretty extensive makeup artistry background. And so I work with the brand to make sure that our products are performance level, standard for any makeup artist that picks them up. I work with them to make sure our shade ranges are inclusive, that we have the right undertones, colors, selection for anybody that wants to come to the table. And I make sure it performs from this artistry perspective and from my own perspective as a consumer. I bring that to the table with our product development team. I think they lean on me as a person that can give that different perspective to them. So that's a piece of my job. Another piece of my job is I am a trend predictor and a trend spotter. I've been in the industry for a really long time. I won't tell you how long because I think we could probably figure out my age in there. But being in the industry so long, I think I have the ability to spot trends for Fenty. And so you'll see those in the color combinations that are happening from a campaign level to social media content.
What do you think is like the trendiest color right now?
Brown.
Brown?
Brown everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about like the next frontier color?
Depends on what we're talking about.
Okay, let's say
Eyes? Eyeshadow or eyeliner?
It's brown. So
still going to be brown. Okay, we're staying in brown.
I know it's brown, but brown lips have been trending forever. Brown liners, brown lips. And I say brown because there's so many different levels of brown. So I'm seeing like this really beautiful wash of like sheer brown all over the lid. Like you're giving me a little bit of warm in the crease. Like I love to see it. I think that's going to trend for eyes as well with like a little dab of like sparkle, diamond bomb, something on top of it. But I also think blush and contour and bronzer are going to start to meld into one this summer. So we're going to see brown on the cheeks. So that's what I mean when I say brown. It's all different shades, all different placements, all different textures, but it's not going anywhere for a while.
When it comes to making trends, predicting trends, sometimes we feel that trends might only really cater to like a specific aesthetic. And an example I have is like sometimes when I think about like clean girl aesthetic, the vision that comes to mind is like blonde girl from Orange County who rides equestrian, right? And that's it. You know, it's not necessarily like a really inclusive trend.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you make sure, since Fenty takes a stake in the ground with diversity, inclusivity, and belonging, how do you make sure those trends fit everybody?
The thing about trend is it comes and goes. Nothing is new. Everything is borrowed and like repurposed, which I kind of love. When it comes to trend, not every trend is for every person. The reason I say that is because if you don't like it, don't do it. And so that's why I say like not every trend is for every person. When we are crafting and creating trends and setting them out there, we make sure that you can equitably achieve the trend from any person that wants to try it. Whether it's in a color offering or a color combo, you have to make sure that everybody has the products for them in order to achieve it. But here's the thing, and this is what I say about makeup in general, is if you love it, I love it. If you like it, I like it. And it all comes down to how you want to present. And so trend is a funny thing because I think people get so caught up in this idea of wanting to achieve like what's on trend instead of taking pieces of the trend and making it more for them.
This episode of GlowJob is brought to you by Fenty Beauty.
We don't chase trends.
We set them.
Our beauty isn't just a part of the conversation, it's leading it.
And Fenty Beauty celebrates that.
They've created a community where every face, every culture, every story matters. And here's to AAPI Beauty, shaping what's next. And here's to Fenty Beauty
for making sure the future is as bold and beautiful as we are.
I think people get so caught up in this idea of wanting to achieve like what's on trend instead of taking pieces of the trend and making it more for them.
Thinking of an example right now, and let me know if I'm wrong. If we take the trend of like blush blindness, right? And so like maybe we see a lot of like people with fairer skin doing blush blindness, but as a brand, you would just make sure you have blushes and enough shades that everyone can do it.
Yeah. So if you want to be blush blind from, you know, your lightest shade to your deepest shade, we're going to make sure that we have the color selection for you and teach you how to do it and teach you how to do it well. Sometimes the trends are not executed well.
Oh, I've seen many that are not. Speaking of teaching people how to do things, I know you do a lot of educational content in terms of like, you know, like how to pick a shade and those things. How do you properly pick your foundation shade?
So this actually has many different answers. It's not a black and white answer. A lot of picking foundation shades depends on cultural perspective, where you feel comfortable, because not every person is going to want a foundation that matches their face or their neck or their body. Not everybody is going to want a shade lighter. Not everybody is going to want to have the same undertone that they have naturally appearing in their skin. So there is a lot of psychology in picking a foundation shade because it does boil down to what you feel comfortable in and how you want to look. So for example, I am somebody that, because I was born in Southern California, I love having my tan and I wear SPF on my face every single day. So my foundation color is a little bit deeper, more matches my body than it does matches my face or my neck. And that's because I protect my face every single day with SPF. However, if I was shade matching in another country, in another part of the United States even, it varies. So you almost have to find all of those questions. If I was going to simplify it, it's depth of color and undertone. Those are the two things you look at.
For like the average consumer, kind of figuring out your foundation shade is always so tricky. And I feel like, especially as East Asians, we're just always told to go yellow or to go warm. What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't necessarily, I feel like I see a lot of like cool toned Asian people.
So what's interesting about that is it also depends on trends. So right now, trends can be different depending on where you're from. And that is also inclusive of the undertone of foundation that you pick up. So I do see a lot of cool tones doing really well in some of the Asian markets because people want a little bit of that pink undertone to cancel out any like gold or yellow undertone that they have in their skin. But here's the thing is, they're not wrong, they're not right. And I go back to like, what do you want to celebrate in your own skin? For me, I love the golden undertones in my skin, so I tend to pick something that has a little bit more golden. When I am in the summer, I like to pick things that have a little bit more like pink undertones because I feel like it gets a little bit of that bronzy effect to me. So it just kind of depends on what you want. I'm sorry, there's not one answer.
No,
There's a few answers.
This is helpful. And I think it also kind of like alleviates the stress of like, am I messing up? But be honest, is my foundation off?
Your foundation is on point, so we're good.
Okay.
We're good,
You would tell me.
100%. 100%. Yeah, your foundation looks fabulous, whatever you're wearing. And I know that you guys are not matching by your hands. You know, I started laughing so hard when I was listening to that. I was like, oh, they do. But yeah, put it on the face.
So as a makeup artist, what are your, whether it be beginner, advanced, whatever, just underrated makeup tips that you think we should know?
Okay, so the first one is to stop using so much product.
Ooh.
Now, I noticed I didn't say stop using too many products because I love a product. I love a product for every area of the face, but stop using so much product. One of the things that I see people doing a lot is using way too much foundation, powder. It's really cool to see it on social media, like pumping it onto the skin. You see like 5 pumps of foundation, 10 in some cases. It's really fun social content. I love watching it. But for the everyday person, I think we are using too much product. 1 pump of foundation and then assess. If you need more, go back in.
So we know you work with trends, but we know you also work with like spotting talent and like new artists. What do you look for when you're scouting new artists?
You know, when we bring somebody into the Fenty family, we want people that have the same kind of mindset that we do. So range, I look for range and the ability to do makeup on pretty much any person that would walk up to them. I look for people that really are open to like feedback and collaboration with other people. I think that's so important. And I think it's also an important thing for any makeup artist in the industry is to always have that collaboration mindset, always try to be evolving themselves and asking how they can improve their own skill.
I just love how you mentioned that like kind of the bare minimum as you're looking for talent is that you can work on all shades of skin tone. Because I feel like back in the day, artists would just say like, oh, I don't know how to do a deeper skin tone, or I don't know how to do, you know, eyeshadow on an Asian eye, right? But like the fact that that is the base requirement.
Very base.
I think that's so important and probably really different even still today than what a lot of brands out there do.
100%. I think it means you still need to learn more. If you are not comfortable with an eye shape, if you are not comfortable with an undertone or a skin type, then you just have the opportunity to learn more. And hopefully you understand that you can learn more.
You're working with a lot of talent. You are definitely in the weeds in terms of producing product, but it is still a corporate job, right? It's like still a 9 to 5. And as any corporate girly knows, the corporate life can be a slog sometimes. And so how do you stay creatively energized and inspired?
I think that's a really important question because I do have that balance. I am in the corporate world, so I do have to deal with like numbers and spreadsheets, and a huge part of my job that people don't realize is putting together presentations in PowerPoint. I live in PowerPoint every single day. I was actually talking to my friend about this because he was asking me, he was like, you've gotten to a level, like you don't have to deal with this. And I was like, do you understand what I do every day is I put things into a PowerPoint because that's how you're putting it into a way that people can understand it and read it and really like digest it, right? And so any good corporate job, you have to be great at PowerPoint. I personally am terrible at it. I'm 100% terrible at putting things into PowerPoint. That's not where my creativity goes. But I like to stay active. I like to stay creative in different ways. So I think finding inspiration is everywhere. It's so cliche, but it's like nature and make sure you reset. But I think also it's about taking time off and understanding how you work best. So I am 100% more creative at night. Like I feel like my mind gets going at like from 8 to like 12 p.m. If I could be up till 4 a.m. every night, I would, because that's just like when my mind is like going off. And I think it's just the ability to like make sure I'm capturing that, even if it doesn't make sense, like writing it in a notepad or putting it somewhere where I can do the corporate thing with it later during the day.
So Fenty truly changed the game when it came to topics related to diversity. It's obviously way more than just foundation shades, right? What else goes into building a company that's just centered on that?
Oh my gosh, so much. So I think a big piece of it is having the right voices at the table. And when you're making decisions and key decisions, it's important to have people with diverse backgrounds because they bring to the table elements that just one set of people might not think of. And it's really important that you have the diversity at the decision-making levels. Like that's so important. I think a lot of brands think that their diversity or the inclusivity is checked off, like when they have a certain amount of shades. But even if we take foundation as an example, it's about the undertone of the shade. It's about when you're launching an eye product, showing all of the eyes. If you're launching a mascara, making sure that you have short lashes, dense lashes, long lashes. It's about how you are representing the product in the swatches that you show and making sure that everybody can see themselves somehow in the product. It can also be, from a disability standpoint, our Fenty hair products have like a touch factor to them. So they're easy to identify in the shower between the different bottles. So I think there's a lot of things that go into this idea of, diversity and inclusivity in making a company successful. It's not just shade range.
Do you think every beauty brand should be diverse in terms of their range or like show a wide diversity in terms of the faces on their campaigns?
It's a really good question. And personally, yes, I think with the way the world needs to understand that inclusivity is important, I think it is really important that every beauty brand should. This is also an interesting question because then it kind of approaches cultural norms in different countries of where maybe certain things are not as accepted or certain things are not seen as beautiful. So it's hard to give a black and white answer to that because you have to take into account cultural sensitivity in certain instances, especially when you're launching in different countries.
Fenty is a global brand, right? It's not just major in the US, it's all over the world. And when you're marketing product to cultures like East Asian countries like China, Japan, Korea, countries that are more of a monolith, how do you show diversity in a culture that is predominantly one race?
It's an excellent question. And I think there's different ways to showcase that diversity. So, I think people tend to think of Asian beauty and Eastern beauty as like really monolithic, and it's not. There's so many different elements that go into it. Like I can generalize and say everybody wants, a light, bright skin tone. I can generalize and say X, Y, and Z, but it's actually not 100% true. And I think to your point, I think when we look at it from afar, it feels very monolithic, but when you actually dive into it, people have these different needs, wants, et cetera, and they want to be seen. So I think it's about taking what you see within the market, what you learn about the market, and then showing it in that way. So you don't have one model that looks the same skin tone, because the thing about it is not everybody in Asia is the same skin tone. And I think there are more and more people that are celebrating their own unique skin tone. So it's like showing different eye shapes, showing different features of people that you see every day. And that's one of the things that I love about Fenty is we love people that look like people. Those are the kinds of things that you can do to show diversity.
I feel like I still see in a lot of beauty campaigns, I always see like maybe like one token Asian in a campaign, right?
Mhm.
It's like, oh, I spotted one. Like, where's Waldo? There she is.
Right.
Since you've been in the industry so long, what have the changes looked like over the years? And have you seen progress in terms of like the kind of representation that's shown in beauty?
I think I have seen a lot of progress, and it's really inspiring to see some of these beauty brand owners that are Asian, and they're all different Asian. And that's, I think, one of the most surprising things to people is we're all different. We all look very different. So I think the industry has opened up more to this idea of diversity, even like within the corporate environment. I think people still need to learn how to be more open, but I think we've gone from this like stereotypical, Asian colleague of being like the good hard worker to no, this person actually has a creativity. This person has, a special skill that doesn't necessarily equate to like, just like head down hard work. I mean, we are hard workers though. Like,
We have more.
More than that.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we're starting to celebrate this idea of like, there's so much that everybody brings to the table, and just even being open to learning about it, I think is good steps along the way. And I do see like with these different beauty brands, there still is some tokenism, with how we're represented, whether it's a model selection or, a campaign selection. But I do think that I'm starting to see it more, a little bit more openness to choosing features that are not typical, to choosing skin tones that are not typical, and not just like lumping all of us Asian people into like one look or one stereotype on how we work.
Let's talk about some fun stuff, right?
Okay.
So since we have a pro makeup artist in the room, we have some questions that we just got to know. First up is, what is a trend that you think is like legitimate and worth following?
Skin like skin. I'm calling it now. I think people are into this idea of letting their natural skin show through. They're letting freckles show through. They're letting sunspots show through. They're letting their natural skin textures show through. And I love that for them.
So what are some products that can really help with that?
So right now I'm obsessed with our Soft Lit foundation, and it's for two reasons. Number one, I can build it up to get more coverage when I need it. Like, so today on camera, I have a little bit more coverage. On my daily, I do the one pump. I rub it in my hands and I put it right on top of my SPF. And it just looks like I made my own tinted moisturizer. I love one product that I can do two things with. Get you a girl that can do both. Soft Lit is that girl.
She sounds good. She's good. What is your fave Fenty product?
Just one?
Top three. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll give you
I'll give you three.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, thank you. It's still really hard. So, okay, if I had to choose one, I would choose Gloss Bomb, obviously.
Same.
What shade?
I love Fussy.
Ooh, yeah, we love Fussy too.
Yeah, and I love the heat ones. I know we're divided on the plumpers versus the non-plumpers.
Sorry, Sasa.
But I love a little heat in my lip gloss. I like to feel like any fine lines are being taken care of. And yeah, Fussy is that girl. I love her. Oh God, I can only choose one more.
Your favorite children.
Oh God, it's so hard. Can it be a skincare product?
Yeah, do it.
Sure.
Our Hydrovisor SPF from Fenty Skin.
Ooh.
I love it. I love it under my foundation. I love it when I don't have any foundation on. I am a new to SPFer in the last like 7 years. I know it's crazy. I know you're looking at me crazy.
This is a judgment zone when it comes to sunscreen.
100%. Please judge me because I'm judging myself. But yeah, sunscreen was not, because, I got beauty from my mom, and my mom was always like bronzed and beautiful growing up and in the sun. I don't think it registered that I have Asian skin, and it's really important to protect the Asian skin because we are prone to sunspots. So it wasn't until I started actually getting sunspots that I was like, I have to do something about this. And Hydrovisor has been my everyday. I love it.
One thing I love that's finally changing is that people are realizing that you can be like a glowy, bronzy, sun-kissed girl who also wears sunscreen. Like, I feel like back in the day, there were like these two camps. And like, if you liked sunscreen, that means you automatically don't like a healthy glow. But
well, now we fake it.
Yep.
There's bronzer, there's glow, like shimmery drops that we can apply. There's so many things where we can look bronzed on the face and on the body too.
What about your least favorite beauty trend right now?
Okay. So like I said before, if you love it, I love it. So I don't want to judge any beauty trends, but I am excited because I feel like people are giving their real lashes a moment and putting the false lashes aside. And so I can say that that is one of my least favorite trends is the overdone false lashes. So without sounding negative, but if you have them and you love them, keep wearing them.
like, you don't want to yuck a yum, but like, I get it. Cause like for me, it does look nice. But when I think about like the wear and tear, you know, like on the natural lash, and that's what really gets to me. It's not that it doesn't look good. It's that you're going to lose all your lashes.
I mean, if done right and maintained properly, you're going to be okay. But I hear you on that. I for me, and I think it's a personal thing, when I go to bed at night, I need every speck of makeup off my face. Like everything has to come off. I have to be exfoliated, moisturized, like fresh. Otherwise I can't sleep.
Yeah, same. I need everything off. Even if it's like I went out all night, I'm going hard, going home, I'm like, I need to remove all of this off my face before I can touch the pillow.
Oh, 100%. I've definitely like gotten completely unready while blackout drunk, right? Like, you know, like
It's a skill.
it's a skill, but like even like drunk me, like, you know, it has my best interest in mind, I guess, but you know, you just got to do it.
I love that for you.
What is your go-to look when you have like 5 minutes and you're running out the door?
5 minutes. Okay. So my go-to look is definitely something that has mascara on my eyes, a tint of foundation on my skin, a brow filled in, and my blush on. And then I lip gloss in the car. That doesn't count in the 5 minutes.
No, it's on the go. Yeah.
It's on the go. So, I mean, kind of similar to, you know, the makeup I have on today. I love this style of makeup. It definitely can be a 5-minute makeup. It looks a little different after 5 minutes though.
Fair.
But yeah. And I think for anybody that wants a good 5-minute makeup, you have to think about the things that are important to you first. Right. And so for me, my mascara is, I have to have it on every day. And so that's the first thing I'm going to spend time on.
So you're a mascara girl.
Love mascara.
What are you, Sauce, if you had
Brow gel.
Brow.
Even if I'm just like, I can't do anything today, I need to put the brow gel in to feel like a human.
For sure. I feel like I'm in the same camp with brows. Like for me, like my brows are like brushing my teeth, right? Like I just have to do it because like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not myself without it because they're really, really sparse. Yeah.
We always love to wrap it up with a round of rapid fire questions if you're game.
I'm game.
Okay. So our first question is a fuck, marry, kill question.
Love these.
Yes. So you can fuck, marry, kill. And we have makeup, outfit, and hair.
Marry makeup. It's been the love of my life. Obviously, it's my career. We're going to fuck the hair because I fuck with hair. And, you know, I don't really know that much about hair. So I like to change it up. I like to keep it the same for years. It's just one of those things. It gets cut, it gets long, it gets dyed, it gets not. And then we're going to kill the outfit. You know, as long as I have my hair and my makeup, my outfit, it doesn't even matter. I could be in sweats.
Are you a morning or a night person?
Night person, 100% all the way.
What is the last thing you do before you go to bed?
Very last thing, like non-cosmetic related, I take my vitamins. I take them at night because, you know, I don't want to deal with upset tummy during the day. Take a swig of water and then climb in.
What vitamins do you take at night?
Oh gosh, I take Nutrafol hair vitamin. I take an everyday vitamin. I take a hair, skin, nail vitamin. I mean, I take everything. It's so bad.
What about a desert island beauty product that is not Fenty?
Okay, so I'm always miffed by this question. I have to tell you that because I'm so technical. I'm like, what kind of deserted island? Is it hot? Am I there with anybody? Am I going to be picked up soon? Like, I just...
Am I going to be picked up soon?
I need parameters in order to figure out like am I just taking a quick vacation on a deserted island?
But in the middle of the Pacific,
Okay.
deserted island,
And it's Castaway.
you're by
Castaway.
yourself.
By myself. Okay. Not even with a little...
You can have a Wilson.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take Wilson. I'm probably going to get raked over the coals for this one, but I love the Maui Babe tanning lotion. And if I'm on a beach, I just want the Maui Babe all over my body.
What? I love this. Julia is like perplexed. I love this.
With your 4 SPF?
I don't even think it has 4.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
it's 0.
Oh my God.
I told you.
No,
Oh, you guys
I get it.
You know that one.
You know what? You're going to embrace island life.
Yeah.
Why not?
And it moisturizes. I want to be moisturized. I'm going to be bronzed.
yeah.
I would also like my, my Korean scrubby towel so I could have, or my African net sponge, it's just exfoliated, moisturized, and bronzed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm eating sushi every day, like taking a nice little break.
You've taught yourself how to spearfish in this scenario.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I am here for Desert Island Krista version.
I mean, and nothing. I mean, it sounds amazing. A little break, as long as I get picked up like a week later.
Sure, we'll send the rescue helicopter.
And our final one for you is, what's one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
That it's going to be okay. Like everything works out and it's going to be okay. And don't be surprised if things look differently than what you anticipated.
Well, thank you, Krista. This was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
Yes.
I loved being here with both of you.
Well, you're welcome back anytime, but this is a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
This episode was brought to you by Fenty Beauty,
The brand that changed the game with 50 inclusive foundation shades. From skincare to makeup to hair, Fenty Beauty is here to serve everyone, every time.